My name is Aaron, and I'm from Dallas, Texas. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this: the loudest person in the room isn't always the strongest. Sometimes, the strongest one is the one who finally speaks up. And when I did, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cuss. I didn't throw things. I just told the truth. And truth? That's louder than anything else. You're a loser, Aaron. I swear, how did I even marry someone like you? That's how it started. I was still standing with a warm dish in my hand. I just finished helping her mom set the table. We were at her parents' house for Sunday dinner, a tradition she insisted on. And still, I got disrespected in front of everyone. In front of her brothers. Her sister. Her cousins. Like I wasn't even human. Seriously, look at him, she snapped, arms crossed, fire in her eyes. You can't even make simple conversation without sounding like an idiot. My God. No wonder my dad never liked you. I could feel the heat on my face. The sting in my chest. My fingers were still clenched around the plate I'd just laid down. Everyone else at the table had gone quiet. Her mom looked away, biting her lip. Her brother just smirked. And me? I stood there, frozen. I'd taken it before. The passive digs. The sarcastic jabs. Even the eye rolls when I tried to speak. But this? This was different. This wasn't just between us anymore. This was public humiliation. On purpose. And I couldn't pretend anymore. Not for the sake of peace. Not for appearances. But before I could even speak, she turned again, still going. You always play the victim, she mocked, using a fake voice. Oh, poor me, my job is stressful. Poor me, I feel left out. You're pathetic, Aaron. Seriously. Grow a spine. Her cousins chuckled under their breath. Her dad leaned back in his chair, arms folded, like he was enjoying the show. And that's when something broke inside me. Not anger. Not hate. Just, done. I was done. You know what's funny? I said, loud enough for the whole room to hear. They all turned. You all think I'm weak because I don't yell. Because I don't fight back. Because I don't raise my hand or call names. But let me tell you something. I stepped forward slowly. My voice didn't shake. It was calm. Colder than I've ever sounded in my life. You mock me for helping. For folding laundry. For rubbing her back when she's sick. For remembering anniversaries. But you never saw the nights I stayed up with her when she had anxiety attacks. You never saw how many jobs I applied for just to get us ahead when she refused to work. You never saw how I let your insults roll off my back week after week just so we wouldn't cause a scene. Her mouth was open now. Shocked. Her family silent. For once. I took a breath and looked directly at her. You call me pathetic? You live in the house I paid for. Drive the car I financed. Eat the groceries I carry home. And yet, you think belittling me makes you stronger? I paused, then turned to her dad. I didn't say anything when you called me a soft man for cooking dinner. But maybe being soft is better than being silent while your daughter turns into a bitter, mean-spirited woman who gets high off disrespect. Her dad stood up. But I didn't flinch. Sit down, I said calmly. You raised her to think disrespect is power. But I'm done letting you treat me like the butler at your family circus. At that point, she screamed, "Get out!" But I wasn't finished. No, I won't get out. Not until I say this one last thing. Because I spent years defending you. Making excuses for you. Hoping you'd change. But I finally see the truth: you don't want a husband. You want a punching bag. And I'm done playing that role. I set my car keys on the table. I won't raise my voice like you. I won't call you names. but I will walk away. Because I finally respect myself more than I fear being alone. I turned and walked to the door. And as I stepped outside, I heard her sister whisper, "He's the only man in this family who's ever had the guts to stand up to her." That night changed everything. Not because I won the argument, but because I finally refused to lose myself. There comes a point where silence isn't peace, it's self-destruction. And if someone makes you feel small in every room, you owe it to yourself to stand tall. Even if your voice shakes. Even if they laugh. Because self-respect isn't loud. It's quiet. But powerful. If you've ever been made to feel less than for loving, helping, or simply existing, then let this be your reminder. Your silence doesn't protect peace. It only protects their power. Speak up. Walk away. Heal. And most importantly, never apologize for choosing yourself. I didn't slam the door when I walked out. I didn't scream. I didn't even cry, not right away. But as soon as I reached my car and sat in the silence, that's when it hit me. 7 years. 7 years of my life spent with a woman who didn't even flinch when she tore me down in front of her family. 7 years of being her emotional punching bag, while she played the victim every time someone called her out. And still, I loved her. That was the worst part. I didn't leave because I hated her. I left because I finally realized she would never love me the way I deserved. Not gently. Not loudly. Not even privately. I drove. No destination. Just movement. The city lights blurred behind the windshield. And somewhere between downtown and the edge of nowhere, my phone buzzed. Not her. Not even her family. It was her sister. Aaron. I'm sorry. I didn't know it was that bad. You didn't deserve that. I stared at the message, fingers trembling. She did know. They all knew. They just never said anything until after the damage had been done. I checked into a hotel that night. Nothing fancy. Just quiet. And for the first time in years, I slept without flinching in the middle of the night. No arguments. No footsteps pacing angrily down the hallway. No guilt trips over things I never even did. Just peace. And that peace? It hurt more than I expected. Because when your normal has been chaos, calm feels like grief. Like something is missing. Even if that something was slowly destroying you. But the calm didn't last long. Because 2 days later, she came looking for me. Not with tears. Not with remorse. With rage. She showed up to my office during lunch. "What the hell are you doing, Aaron?" she snapped, storming into the hallway. "You just walk out? You just leave like some coward?" I didn't raise my voice. "You embarrassed me in front of everyone," I said. "You've been doing it for years." That night was just the final straw. She scoffed. "Oh, please. You're just mad because I called you out. You always play the good guy in public. But in private? You're boring. You're spineless. You think being quiet makes you noble? It just makes you weak." I stood there in silence. And that silence? It made her furious. "Say something," she yelled, stepping closer. "Come on, Mr. Truth Teller. Defend yourself." I looked her in the eyes. "I'm not defending myself anymore," I said softly. "Because I'm done living in a relationship where love feels like war." She blinked. Just once. Then said the one thing that truly shattered me. "You'll come crawling back. You always do." But I didn't. Because something had shifted. Something inside me had finally stood up. Not out of ego. Not to win. But because I realized I was fighting for someone who wasn't even trying to meet me halfway. And love? Real love? It doesn't make you question your worth every single day. So no. I didn't crawl back. I climbed forward. I started therapy. I took on more hours at work, not to escape, but to rebuild. I stopped checking her social media. Stopped waiting for her name to light up my phone. And the crazy part? That's when she really started panicking. She sent flowers. Texts at 2 a.m. Voicemails filled with "I was just angry" and "you know I love you and you're overreacting." But by then, I could see it clearly. Love isn't proven in apologies after destruction. It's shown in how someone speaks about you when they're angry. And the things she said in that room? They weren't slips. They were truths she'd been hiding behind sarcasm for years. And I finally heard them. Some people only respect you once you stop tolerating their disrespect. And sometimes, the strongest move you can make is walking away without looking back. So to the man or woman listening right now, if you've ever stayed quiet to keep the peace, if you've ever made yourself small just to avoid their next outburst, I want you to know. You deserve more. Not later. Not if they change. Now, 2 weeks. That's how long it took for the shift to happen. For the same people who once stayed silent to suddenly find their voices. But not in support of me. No. They turned on me. Fast. Hard. And loud. "You just abandoned her," her mom said on the phone. I didn't raise my daughter to be disrespected like that. Disrespected? That word sat in my chest like lead. I had spent years tiptoeing through landmines just to keep that family happy. Buying gifts for birthdays I wasn't invited to. Driving an hour each Sunday just to sit through silent dinners where I was treated like an outsider. And now, I was the villain. Because I finally stood up for myself? Then came the text from her brother. "Can't believe you're ghosting the family. We treated you like one of us." Treated me like one of you? If being talked down to, ignored, and gossiped about at every family barbecue was being one of you, then maybe that was the problem all along. But I stayed silent. I didn't respond. I didn't defend myself. Because by that point, I understood one simple truth. You don't need to explain your peace to people who benefit from your chaos. They didn't want to hear my side. They wanted to protect their version of her. The one who made jokes. The one who posted smiling photos. The one who twisted the truth so well that even her mother believed it. "She's depressed because of you," her sister said one night over the phone. "She doesn't eat. She doesn't sleep." I took a deep breath. Because I'd seen this play before. Manipulation, wrapped in pity. Accountability, passed off as cruelty. But then something happened I didn't expect. One of her cousins, Jess, reached out privately. And what she said shook me. "Aaron, I think you need to know something. You're not the first. And I don't think you'll be the last." I stared at the message. Confused. Heart pounding. I called her. "What do you mean?" I asked. She hesitated. Then spoke carefully. She did the same thing to her ex. Humiliated him in front of us. Manipulated the narrative. Said he was too sensitive. But when he left, she went ballistic. Told everyone he cheated. Even told her dad he'd stolen money from her. None of it was true. She just couldn't stand that he left first. I felt my hands go cold. "She plays the victim because it gives her control," Jess continued. And I didn't say anything before because, honestly, we were all afraid of her too. That call changed everything. Because for the first time I wasn't questioning my memory. I wasn't wondering if maybe I overreacted. If maybe I should have stayed. I saw the pattern. The game. And worst of all, I saw how long I'd been part of it. But the real twist? It came at her niece's birthday party. I wasn't going to go. But Jess asked me to come. Said I should be there, at least to see the kids. So I did. And when I walked in, the room went still. Her mom's smile faded. Her brother rolled his eyes. And her? She stood by the cake table, arms folded, eyes sharp as glass. Well, look who finally showed up, she said loudly. Decided to pretend you care again? People chuckled nervously. She loved performing, even if it meant lying. I never stopped caring, I said calmly. I just stopped being treated like I didn't matter. She laughed, sarcastic. Oh, here we go. Mr. Victim again. Then, before I could reply, Jess stood up. Stop, she said. Just stop, okay? Everyone turned. You act like you're the only one who's been hurt, Jess continued. But Aaron was nothing but respectful. We all saw how you treated him. We just stayed quiet. Her mom stood up. Jess, don't start. No. You don't start, Jess shot back. This family protects drama over truth. And I'm sick of it. Aaron deserves better. And deep down, you all know it. Silence. Thick. Awkward. Real. And for the first time, she didn't have a comeback. She just stood there, blinking. Swallowing. I didn't say anything else. I didn't need to. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing isn't winning the fight. It's when someone else sees the truth and says it for you. Let me tell you something about real healing. It's not about proving your side to everyone. It's about no longer needing to. Because the truth? It doesn't need defending. It just needs time. And when it finally shows up, it silences every lie ever told about you. It always happens this way, doesn't it? They don't want you when they have you. They mock you, ignore you, break you. But the minute you heal, the minute you learn to live without them, that's when they come back. And she did. Right on schedule. It had been 3 months since I walked out of her parents' house. Since I stopped responding to her late-night texts. Since I stopped letting her live rent-free in my mind. I'd started rebuilding. Not just my life. But myself. I got a new apartment. Small, but mine. I started hitting the gym again. Not out of revenge, not to prove a point, but because I wanted to feel strong again. I even laughed again. Genuinely. The first time I laughed without guilt, I nearly cried right after. Because I forgot what it felt like to be happy without fear. And then, one rainy evening, there was a knock at my door. I almost didn't open it. But something told me this was the moment I'd been dreading and waiting for at the same time. And sure enough, there she was. Hair soaked. Makeup faded. But the attitude? Still fully intact. She didn't say hi. She just walked in, like she still had that right. Nice place, she muttered. Cold. Empty. I didn't answer. She sat on the couch, crossed her legs, and finally looked up at me. I'd been thinking, she said. About us. There it was. That old, rehearsed tone she used when she wanted something. I overreacted, she continued. Things got out of hand. You shouldn't have walked out like that, but I forgive you. I forgive you. The audacity. I stared at her. Not angry. Not even surprised. Just sad. You didn't come here to apologize, I said. You came here because I moved on. She flinched. Slightly. That's not true. It is, I said calmly. You didn't miss me. You missed the control. She stood up now. Oh, come on, Aaron. I was upset. You know I say things I don't mean when I'm angry. I nodded. You said I was pathetic. Weak. Spineless. Embarrassed me in front of your family. Lied about me after I left. If that's what you say when you're angry, then I'm terrified of what you'd say when you're honest. Her expression cracked. Not fully. But enough. Because for the first time, she wasn't the one in control. I want to try again, she said finally. We can fix this. We always do. I looked at her for a long time. Then I spoke. I'd consider it, I said slowly, but only on one condition. She perked up immediately. What is it? And I stepped closer. Looked her dead in the eyes. You apologize. To me. In front of your family. The same way you tore me down publicly. You build me back up publicly. Her face dropped. The silence between us? Louder than any screaming match we'd ever had. You want me to, what? She said, eyes narrowing. You want me back? Then the lies you told have to die in the same room where they were born. She stared at me like I was speaking another language. You're crazy, she muttered. No, I said. I'm finally sane. And done being your secret punching bag while you smile for the camera. She stormed out. Didn't even slam the door. And I knew then she never came back because she loved me. She came back because I stopped begging. See, people like that. They only want you when they feel you slipping out of reach. Not because they value you. But because they value control. And the day you say, I'd rather be alone than disrespected. That's the day you get your power back. It didn't happen right away. Not after she stormed out. Not after I laid down my condition. Not even after her friends started unfollowing me on social media, like I was the one who shattered something fragile. It happened months later. When I'd already stopped hoping for a call. When the apology no longer mattered. When her name no longer lived in my head. That's when she broke. It was a quiet Saturday. I remember that part clearly. I was walking out of a coffee shop, earbuds in, headphones on, sunshine on my face. And out of nowhere, there she was. Sitting in her car, across the street, windows rolled down. Eyes red. Hair messy. Face pale. I froze. Not out of fear. Not out of love. Out of surprise. Because the woman I saw sitting there? She wasn't angry anymore. She wasn't loud. She wasn't mocking. She was defeated. I walked past her, pretending I hadn't noticed. Not out of pettiness. But because I didn't owe her anything anymore, not even my attention. But then I heard it. Soft. Shaky. Just loud enough to pierce through my headphones. Aaron. I stopped. Turned. She was standing outside her car now. Tears running down her face. No makeup. No armor. Just raw, broken, real. Please, she whispered. Can we talk? I took a step closer. Not too close. Just enough to hear her say it fully. I was wrong, she said. About everything. I treated you like you didn't matter. I said things no one deserves to hear. I lied to my family. I blamed you for things I caused. I was cruel. Her voice cracked. I pushed away the only good thing I ever had. I didn't speak. Just listened. And then she asked the one question I'd always wondered if she ever would. Do you think there's still hope? Now pause for a second. Imagine the version of me from 6 months ago. The one who still couldn't sleep without checking his phone. The one who stayed up wondering if he should have fought harder. That version would have said yes. Would have held her. Would have fallen for the tears. But that version? He died the day I chose peace. I looked her in the eyes. Gently. No hate. No bitterness. Just truth. There was hope, I said. for a long time. But you buried it. With every insult. Every lie. Every time you told people I was the problem. She wiped her face, mascara running even though she wasn't wearing any. I know, she whispered. I'm sorry. And here's the part one never thought I'd say. I believed her. Not because she deserved forgiveness, but because I deserved freedom. And forgiveness is how I claimed it. I forgive you, I said softly. But no, we're not going back. We're not starting over. You don't get to break something and come back when it's convenient. She sobbed. I'll do anything. I'll prove it, just tell me how. I shook my head. You don't have to prove anything. Not to me. You have to prove it to yourself. That you can be better. Without using someone else as your emotional punching bag. She covered her face, crying harder now. And me? I walked away. Not because I was angry. But because I was free. We always think closure will come from their apology. From them begging us back. From hearing those 3 words, I was wrong. But real closure? It happens before the apology. It happens the day you stop needing it. It happens when you realize their validation is no longer the oxygen you breathe. People will try to come back when they see you're healing. But healing isn't a performance. It's a boundary. And if walking away once made you stronger, not walking back is what makes you unshakable. To anyone listening who's still stuck in the memory of who someone used to be, let me say this clearly. You don't owe them another chance just because they finally saw your worth. Let them cry. Let them beg. Let them regret. But you? Let yourself live. Because peace is better than proof. And your next chapter deserves more than a repeat of your last one.